Hello Year 8, this is Mr. Perez, and this is your video tutorial on your Medieval Europe assessment task. This task is given to you today, Thursday the 28th of March, and will be due Thursday the 11th of April, the day before we leave, the day before the end of term 1. Now, we will be doing in this task. The outcomes that will be assessed are HT 4-4 and 4-7. Describe and explain the causes and effects of events and developments of past societies over time. Identify and describe different contexts, perspectives, and interpretations of the past. This task will assess how well you can describe the causes of the Crusades, explain the effects of the Crusades, write a structured response, carry out research, and identify and describe different contexts, perspectives, and interpretations of the Crusades. What we will be doing in this task. So this is the Medieval Europe Exposition, an in-class writing assessment. You will not be doing this task at home. Besides preparing, you will be doing this assessment in class. Our topic is Medieval Europe. The event is the Crusades. The time period that we are looking at is 1096 CE to 1270 CE. Now this task will be broken up into two parts. Part A, which is one short answer, and Part B, which is one extended response. Our short answer response for this task will be describe the causes of the Crusades. Part B, the extended response, will be explain the effects the Crusades had on society in both medieval Europe. Things you must consider in your assessment. Consider the two sides who fought in the Crusades, the Christians and the Muslims. Include evidence from both sides and as well as different social classes' perspectives on the Crusades. Also consider the multiple interpretations different historians may have in regards to the cause and effects of the Crusades. What you will need to do. You will need to prepare for the task before you write. You will need to carry out your own research to help you complete the task. There will be some information given in class, but a lot of it will be your own research. You will only be able to use the scaffold, which we will go over and is attached to your assessment, on the day of the assessment. No other notes will be allowed. You will be provided the questions and paper to write on the day of the assessment task. You will have 45 minutes to write your exposition. Let's continue to go through the assessment and we'll go back and we'll talk about what to expect and what Ms. Dwyer and I are expecting for this task. Here we have our absent or policy for our assessment task. If you are not going to be here on the 11th of April and you know now, you must tell your teacher straight away so that you can either take the assessment beforehand or we can schedule something for the first day you come back from your vacation or wherever you're going. But remember, it has to be a valid excuse and it must come from your deputy. Please refer to your assessment policies, which can be found online on the school website. Your assessment instructions. Now, these are the things that you're going to need to do as in preparation and the day of the exam of the assessment. So you need to be present on the day of the assessment task. You need to bring a pen with you to write with. You need to prepare the scaffold that is attached, and you are going to be submitting that scaffold with your response. You must write using paragraphs. You should not write personal pronouns in the first or second person, singular or plural. Do not use the words I, you, he, we, me, us. If there's time in your assessment, you must reread and edit your work. That is, again, if you have time during your assessment. Now, onto the marking criteria. In the marking criteria, it is broken up by your outcomes. We have describe the causes, explain the effects, the structure of your extended response, and then we have your ability to identify different pieces of evidence and understanding, showing your understanding of the past. Please have a look through these marking criteria and look at the adjectives that are included: detailed, accurate, sophisticated. This will inform you on what you will need to do to reach an outstanding grade mark. Going back now to the task itself and how to prepare. If you flip to the back of your booklet, you should have a scaffold that looks similar to the one on the screen. I've broken up the scaffold into the two parts. This first section here, describes the questions you will receive. In this first table is for part A. You are describing the causes of the Crusades. Now, in describing, you must adhere to the following steps, again, to reach that outstanding mark. You must hit what are the Crusades, were some features of them, what were those causes, identify the causes, define those causes, list features of those causes, etc. In this table, you can only include 10 words. We want you on the day to be able to think, remember what you've learned, and put your understanding and your learning down on the paper. We want you to write here. The 10 words that you use should be a simple guideline for you to remember and jog your memory. This is some additional information on what your teachers will be expecting when we read your responses. So, in part A, which is the short answer, you are to describe the causes of the Crusades. In this section, we are not looking for an extended essay. We are looking for a solid paragraph or two, very clearly and concisely describing the causes that started the Crusades. Now, again, this is to be about a solid paragraph or two, no more than that. Now, moving on, we have this part B, explain the effects of the Crusades had on people and society of medieval Europe. On the society of medieval Europe. Same thing, when you see extended response, that means you need an introduction, body paragraphs, and a conclusion. The key word here is paragraphs. You are not just writing one single long paragraph. You need to break up your writing and your thoughts. The scaffold breaks down what each component of each paragraph of the assessment task needs. It's very explicit, so please read it. And again, in each box you are allowed no more than 10 words. This is to jog your memory. This is to write down those difficult names that you might forget how to spell, or difficult places to spell. And a little roadmap for yourself on your train of thought. You have plenty of words to work with, so please choose wisely. And again, this is a roadmap for you to be able to write a clear and concise paper that answers the question. In Part B, for our extended response, explain the effects of the Crusade had on the society of medieval Europe. In this section, we are looking for an introduction, 1, 2, at least body paragraphs. You can write an extra body paragraph if you feel you need it or feel you need to describe another effect of the Crusades. But at minimum, at least, I need to see an introduction, 2 body paragraphs, and a conclusion. If we continue looking, there is an evidence portion of the scaffold. I've put a space here for you to include 4 pieces of evidence. If you remember, one of the outcomes that you're being assessed on is being able to identify and describe different pieces of evidence on the perspective, the context, and the interpretations of the past. So I've provided a place for you to put that specific evidence. 15 words in each box. All right, so again, you need to have done the research and done a little bit of memorization before you come into the task. This last box here is for your writing. Historical terms and concepts that you probably want to include, high modality words, transitional words, and phrases. These high modality words and traditional words and phrases are words that help bring up your point strongly in your writing. All right, a couple of these words might make a big difference on your understanding or on your academic language. I suggest Googling these words and doing a bit of research on what you can do to improve your overall writing. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask your teacher. And again, this is a research task and you are required to go out and prepare. Don't prepare the night before. I guarantee you will not be reaching the standards of an outstanding or a high. You need to prepare well in advance. And if you have questions or are having problem doing research, you need to ask those questions earlier rather than later.